Okay, that concludes our video presentation. At this time, I'm going to invite our team members up here to the table. We're going to open it up, the public hearing, to comments, questions, or statements. In order to hear from everyone tonight, there's going to be a 3-minute limit per speaker. And since this is a formal public hearing, we would ask that you please come forward and speak directly to the microphone. Please state your name and address, and please spell your last name. For instance, if I was going to speak tonight, I would walk up to the mic and say, my name is Scott Schramm. My last name is spelled S-C-H-R-A-M. I live at 2310 East 7th Street in Atlantic, Iowa. And then give us your comment or question. So I think for those that signed up to speak, I'll first invite on the list here Don Hanson.
Don Hanson, 3200 Chippewa Lane, Council Bluffs, Iowa 51501, Hansen. Real quick, I'm speaking in terms of for segment 2. This has been segment 4. We were told in Bluffs Acres, the mobile home park at 24th Street and I-80, that we were to come and speak tonight to our issue of sound. Again, this might affect the other folks that are in the room here too. Down the road, you don't realize the impact of the sound. We were told that we should have been in a meeting like this in 2010, but we were never informed that there was a meeting in 2010. So specifically, I'm here with the community. We have 119 people that have signed a petition. We have 1,000 people that are impacted in the community. The study that we're concerned about was a sound study done in 2008, specifically, that said that all the sound receptors in Bluffs Acres, all of them that were put out in Bluffs Acres, said that we met or exceeded the noise levels for the interstate to deserve a wall. We thought we were going to have a sound wall. And then they put up a fence and said there went the sound wall. So our concern was that we met the noise level. However, we did not receive a wall because they felt it was unreasonable. However, across the interstate, and all you are familiar with, at South Expressway, they built that beautiful new wall. On the north side of the interstate, we're again on the south side of the interstate from 24th Street to Indian Creek, where all that semi-traffic comes in from Pilot and from Sapp Brothers, enters right there. We have all those semis coming on, all that noise, Jake brakes and so on, and we deserve a sound wall according to the sound studies that were done. But again, the reasonableness, the expenses, they did not calculate the study properly because they didn't put into consideration all the lots that were along it. They took it as an empty field, even though it was originally platted in 1972. They only used this 13 residents that were impacted, even though there are actually dozens and dozens that are impacted. So what we would like to see at Bluffs Acres, number one, we'd like to have a wall, as your study explains, because it exceeds the federal noise levels. And we would like to have the study be looked at because of, again, impact wasn't taken into consideration, and the study was not done properly.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it, Don. Thanks for coming in. We talked earlier in the evening. I have been contacted by yourself and folks in that area. Just a background, again, you kind of said it before, but that segment had a meeting just like the one for tonight. We had a study done, environmental assessment. We went through the same warrants for segment 2 that we did segment 4. Then in that document, it did not meet the cost benefit thresholds that we have in our policy. So again, thank you for your comments. I will let me take an opportunity with my staff, and we'll go over it and we'll review the letters that you sent, and we'll be in touch with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next on our comment sign-up sheet, Lenny Scaletta. Hope I'm saying that right.
Yes, you're saying it right. Lenny Scaletta, 2025 31st Avenue. I live in Bluffs Acres too, and I agree with everything that Don said. There is, whatever the studies say, it is noisy, and if there's the same amount of noise, if we're the same amount of distance from the interstate as somebody over in this area, we should get a wall too. It makes the neighborhood better. It would raise the value, but the main thing is to raise it, to keep the noise down. Everybody that lives there, near there, I mean, if they're in the backyard facing the interstate, they have to not really holler, I'm not trying to exaggerate this, but they got to speak up to talk to one another. So it's bad. I encourage you to come down there and take another look at it because it's bad. And you want the whole city of Council Bluffs to be a comfortable place to have less noise, because that might be the first thing somebody sees if they move here is, wait a minute, I want to move into Bluffs Acres, and I can't stand this noise, I'm just going to go over to Omaha. But anyway, the bottom line is that there's probably even environmental impact there with the amount of dust and dirt from the tires and everything else coming over there. But anyway, it is noisy there, and I asked you to take another look at it because I like living there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scaletta. Thanks for the comments. Again, we'll get together this afternoon. Thank you. Next on our sign-up list, we have Wanda Denton, sorry.
She left.
Okay. She left. That's the extent of the list for those folks that signed up. I welcome anyone else with questions or comments, concerns. Please take the opportunity to participate tonight.
Okay, I live on 36 and 6th Ave. My name is Angela Townsend. And what I'd like to know is, are you guys going to put up a wall for us in the community? Because when you guys go to put that interstate in, it's going to get louder. I've heard the past 3 accidents on I-29. Rushed outside to see what's going on. I live 3 houses in. I shouldn't have to hear it. You go and take out another house, that makes me 2 houses in. What are you going to do for me now? Because I'm now 2 houses in. It's going to get louder for me, but you guys are going to sit here and say, oh, well, we don't know, our noise says this, but it's not true. We need a wall up, and there's other people in my community that are saying the same thing. We want a wall up.
I agree.
How many people want a wall up here?
Thank you for the comment. Perhaps Wes or Kyle could comment on the results of the EA study.
The study we did came out with no walls proposed for segment 4.
Okay, not the community. Us as a community, we're all from this area. You all send us letters. We're all saying the same thing. We want a wall up. We do not want to hear the interstate. Do you hear us saying this?
No, because I don't live where we do.
Come live down here. You want to take my house for a month or 2, and I'll go live in your nice house?
Sure.
Come
I got plenty
stay in
of
our
backyard.
area.
I'll
Come
share.
sit out in my backyard if you want to. I don't care. But come listen to the noise.
Okay, we'll follow up.
I'm staying with this for a while. I got plenty of.
Follow up. Follow up, really? That's what we get. We're getting political answers here when we're supposed to be getting truthful answers on what's going on with this interstate. Now you've been dinking us around for so many years, telling us to keep coming back here, wasting our damn time. Now as a citizen, I'm getting pissed.
We're going to go back and look at the numbers again, and we'll follow up with you.
That's a political answer again. It's no answer. It's a yes or no question.
So again, we've got a copy of the document here. You're welcome to look at the study. One thing that we try to, that I think we're obligated to do is be consistent with our policy. So the thresholds that we use on all of our segments are no different than the thresholds
No, I figured
and
out
the
what
warrants that we
threshold
use for
is
the segment.
already. Come on, guys.
Again, appreciate your comments.
The threshold is how nice your house is. So if your house is
Sir, do you have a comment?
Yes, I do. My name is Wes Franks. I've got a house on 36th and 5th Avenue, and she is right. With that wall down there along the north side of I-80, along them houses, that is no closer than we are right there. In fact, we are closer than they are, and they got their wall. I've been down there since '93, and it's very noisy. And you're gonna make it worse because you're gonna make it wider, put more traffic on it.
Thanks for the comments.
You bet.
My neighbor, Mayor.
Sir, can you please approach the mic for the public hearing? Thank you.
I'm also this gentleman's neighbor. He's on 5th Avenue. I'm on 6th Avenue. The one thing I'm glad to see is I'm not going to lose my house. I realize you can't have a wall from one end of Council Club to the other, but he's right in saying there's walls where the people are a lot further away from the interstate than we are. We're going to be half a block, half a city block from the interstate. So what's it take to, I'm sure you do a sound study or whatever, you know, I'm sure you're talking about so much money, but it just, it's hard to swallow when you're closer than the people that have it. I don't, you know, I know you're going to do a study and all that, but I just, you know, these people want to know the same thing as I do, you know. Like I say, I realize they're not going to put a wall from one end of Council Club to the other. That's ridiculous. But I just wanted to know what's taken into account.
Sure. Can you please state your name and your address, please? For
My name is Dick Anderson, spelled F-E-N. My address is 3616 6th Avenue.
Okay, thank you. And to answer your question about what gets taken into consideration, we take noise levels as they exist at the beginning of the study, and we project future traffic growth and the estimated the noise that comes with future traffic growth. We look at distance, we look at the number of impacts, and we also look at cost. And so if the difference between the noise you hear today and the noise that we project, and I can't remember, is it 20 or 40 year projection? To the year 2040 projections, we look at the difference between the noise today and the noise projected in 2040, if that meets a threshold and it meets a cost effectiveness threshold. Those are the ones that...
The lady that talked before, she's also my neighbor, you know, and it's true. You know, we have more and more traffic. We have more and more traffic in that area on interstate, you know, and now we're going to have twice that much. And there has to be, we have to go over the limit for sound in that area. We have to be. I mean, we're half a city block away from the interstate.
Thank you for
And you know, like I said, I realized I wasn't going to put a wall up on both sides of the interstate from one end of Council Club to the other. I mean, I realize that, but I can't help but think we would be probably one area at least, that could get a. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Would anyone else have a comment or question related to the project? If you don't feel comfortable in front of the mic, we do have written comments in the back. Please stop, fill out a form. We also have, there should be a mailer, so you can take it home and fill it out and mail it in. Please pick up one of those too. Yes, sir.
My name is Benjamin Osman. I live at 426 North 38th Street. last name is Ossman. So the bridge on 35th, on Avenue G, it looks like you're softening that curve a little bit. Will it still be a separated bridge, or will it be one continuous surface? The reason I ask this is because at least once a year, we have a semi flip over there. At least once a year. And the last one was quite horrific. So if it's one surface, that's going to contain it, whereas if people are driving underneath, they very well could get toppled over and hurt and various other things. So my guess is, what's the safety measures being taken into account there?
Right, that would be two bridges, one northbound, one southbound.
Okay. So pretty much no change other than a soccer curve.
One other change is today when you come from Omaha, you merge in on the left side, all right? And that's not a familiar move for everybody. It kind of gets people making credit behavior because of it. We're moving that over to the right side and giving people their own lane. So it should eliminate some conflict through there. Okay, there's also a higher barrier that's going up on the outside. You know, the older one was from the 1950s. You know, today it's higher.
I'm very well aware of the safety standards on that face. Which brings me to my next question. At all of the guardrail locations and gore areas, are you going to be implementing cushions that meet NHCRP 350 or the new MASH standard that comes out in the next year or so?
Be the current standard that's up. Is Joe Jurassic here? Joe? What current standard are we using for guardrail cushions? Is it the MASH standard? That's not out yet. But yeah, that's not my expertise in guardrail. But if it's getting updated, we'll take that into consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bobby Clark, C-L-A-R-K, and I live at 3553 10th Avenue. And my question is, have you purchased all the homes that you need to purchase for this project? Because I'm sitting, you know, there wondering if one day I'm going to get this letter where I have to be out. Because I know they bought them on the other side by the golf course, and they offered them money for their home, and it was over a year ago. And they're still waiting to find out if they're leaving, staying, when they're going to get their money, when they can move on.
Some of the properties that have already been acquired were due to hardships, and we called it early acquisition. So we purchased some properties. We still have some to purchase. But the one thing that I want to be clear on, because it came up at the table earlier tonight, is that the area that we're showing in yellow and red being the bridges, yellow being the roadways, is the ultimate build. This isn't a phase one or a phase two. This is the ultimate build, that we're not going to deviate from that design that we showed tonight to expand it. So basically what you see is what we're proposing as a preferred alternative.
So everybody who's on the east side of the interstate, from 36th Street back, it's safe to say that they're not going to lose their home.
Without having a map in front of me, I would say that's probably fairly accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Additional comments, questions?
Well, I've already had the gal across the street from me has already been told to buy her house, so, and that's one of the houses right off the service road that you say you're not gonna touch. But yet, they were told almost a year ago that they were taking their house for sure.
So
That was address 3636 Fifth Avenue.
So we do have a list of properties that may be impacted. I'm not sure about the property you're referring to. But again, we do have right-of-way agents available in the back.
And they told me my spot was gonna be taken, and but he just said, no, they probably aren't. So.
Well,
You have
we would have, it's in our document, we've got a list of potential impacts, okay? And it's a conservative list, and it could change as we finalize our design. So there's some properties where we're too early in the design stage to know whether or not we're going to be acquiring those properties.
If you've got a potential list, why is everybody waiting?
We have to wait for this is part of the process. And we do have as Scott mentioned, a hardship process where we can apply for early acquisition. I'm not sure how many have taken advantage of that yet. A handful, I guess.
Most people would like to have as much time as possible to figure out what they're going to do with the future of their life.
Absolutely.
So, if you have a potential list, people should know about it.
We have actually, at this table here, anybody that's came up to me personally, I've actually had a document with me the whole time, and I've looked at the property up. I've also received probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 phone calls and emails from people. And part of the confusion was when the map was printed in the non-pareil, it showed the entire study area, not just the roadway that's going to be built, but the entire study area. So we've got a lot, and it really didn't define that. And I've talked to Mike Brownlee about that since then. We've got it figured out. But so a lot of people see themselves in the entire study area and thought they were going to be impacted, where they're really not. So anybody that's called me or talked to me personally, either here tonight or on the phone or by email, I have answered the question yes or no based on the list in the document.
So if I ask you then later on, you'll tell me.
Yeah, if you tell me your address, I can look your address up in the document that's available right on this table, along with I can show you on the map.
You have a document there?
Yeah.
3633 Fifth Avenue. I'm just saying, I'll see how it's
Say the address again.
3633 Fifth Avenue.
That is a property that it will be impacted, potentially impacted.
630 Fifth Avenue.
You have another question?
Yeah, it's just, they're going, it's pretty much on the same thing. Isn't that something that, I mean, is that a privacy thing? Is that something that we all could have a list of?
This is a public document. It's for your
Right, so I mean, as far as the houses that are being bought or, you know.
Can you say your name and your address?
Did I not do that? Eva Kissel, Kissel. I'm nervous. 3541 Avenue Way.
If you have a question about a specific property, and I'll invite this for everyone, if you have a question about a specific property, we can take a look at the document and show you a list of potential impacts. Again, our design is not final. When the design changes, the impacts change, right? So after we leave the public comment period open for 30 days, we will move into our right-of-way discussions, and you'll have all the details.
Well, I know I'm not impacted. I've been told that already. I'm not being impacted, but just as being a neighbor and part of what's going on in my neighborhood, I just like to know who's being impacted. You know, who you got now.
Yeah, you're welcome to view the list. Yes.
Oh, it's up there?
Yep, it's the table to my right. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions, please, comments? And if you don't feel comfortable, there's you can provide a written comment. Okay, looks like we have another comment. Yes.
My name is Wanda Hanson, Hanson, 412 South 36th Street here in Council Bluffs. And I don't believe my house is impacted, but I'm concerned for my neighbors that are. I would like to know how you would assess the property. Does it go by what you're taxed on? is that the amount that you offer somebody, or?
I'm not actually with the right-of-way office, but I do know the process fairly well. Basically what they'll do is they'll come out and do an appraisal, and you could be present at the time of the appraisal, and basically what they do is look at comparable homes, and then they basically will start out by giving you basically a price that they'll offer you, and at that time you have a choice of whether to accept it or decline it, and then at which time they go back and negotiate with you back and forth until you find a price that you're both comfortable with. And then we also have what we call relocation assistance. So if you are a person that needs or requires relocation assistance, you can do so by working with our office of right-of-way, and they will help you find a comparable home in another neighborhood. We can't hear you. Can we have you folks keep it down for just a second until we conclude the public hearing, and then we'll be right with you, okay? Did I answer all your questions?
Actually, I still don't understand. If you're taxed for, say, $150,000 on your property, you mean you could go to another house and who knows where it might be, and if my house is comparable to them and they're only taxed for $80,000, then am I just gonna get the $80,000 and?
Well, not exactly. I mean, basically, it's just an assistance program that we offer, where we help people find homes that they feel comfortable in. So you're not just like left to find a house on your own. We will help work with you to help you find another home comparable to the one you have.
Well, I know some people out there looking at properties, and there's not a lot out there in Council Bluffs. And I think that Council Bluffs, their properties are evaluated way too high.
And there's also that opportunity where we say your home is valued at $125,000, and that's what you agreed to accept. We'll give you a check for $125,000, and you can find your own home, whether it be in Council Bluffs or whatever neighborhood you want to relocate to.
Well, I myself have lived in Council Bluffs all my life, and I wouldn't want to move out of the state, or, I want to stay in the Bluffs. I've always stayed in the Bluffs. So if you can't find me a home that's comparable to mine, or say whoever's having to move, what happens then?
And that's what I'm saying is basically, you might take the money and build yourself another home in another neighborhood in Council Bluffs. The thing that we got to be conscious of, it's a delicate situation, because we don't want to relocate somebody into a home they can't afford and then lose that home. So that's why I'm not an expert on it, but our Office of Right-of-Way has a lot more experience on this than I do. I advise you to go talk to them. But those are some of the things I want you to keep in your minds, that if we take you from, or help relocate you from, say, an $80,000 home, and we put you in another $80,000 home that has way higher tax base, we don't want to put you in a situation where you're actually hurt, in a hardship situation because you can't afford to pay the taxes. So that's why I said I would really advise you to talk to our folks right away, because they have way more knowledge on it.
Which folks would that be?
If you go in through the hallway and take a left at the other hallway, they're in the conference room on your right-hand side. Just right through those doors right there.
Again, can we just please keep our conversations to a minimum? I want to give everybody a chance to provide comments. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robin Kern. I'm here just to speak for someone else. Her name is Kathleen Hannafin. She lives at 3538 9th Avenue. And she has two questions. Number one, she is concerned about air quality. When all this construction is going on and you have big dirt movers coming in, what type of measures are put into place to keep that type of thing under control for people that have to be out in the yards? And I don't believe that her house is going to be directly affected by her having to move, but she's still going to be, having to do things upkeep outside. And she is on oxygen, but she does do most of her own outdoor yard work. So what type of measures you have in place, and is that going to be a major concern for her?
Thanks for bringing that up because it's a really good point. If you recall, a couple years ago when we started working on the dual divided freeway and the East Systems interchange, we had a borrow site located down by the Mid-American Power Plant. And then the haul route was actually the roadway that goes through that neighborhood, ties into US 275, Iowa 92, and then continues on to South Expressway. One of the things that we learned throughout this process was that with the amount of truck traffic hauling, and they were hauling 24/7. That's not likely going to be the case here, but they were hauling 24/7. And we had a lot of people from the neighborhoods that were concerned. And we did a lot of things that I think we can apply here too. For example, we had the trucks obey the speed limit, and we had enforcement down there, worked with the city and had enforcement down there. We also made sure that the streets and the roadways were watered to keep the dust down. We actually monitored the amount of dust pollutants in the air and then factored that in. And we also changed the haul route operations, all because of the idea of keeping the dust down. Now, obviously, any construction project, whether it's in your home or otherwise, you can experience some dust. But I want you to know that we will do the same things that we did with that neighborhood to try to minimize as much dust as we can.
Her other question was, is the new construction, after everything is complete, will that change the truck traffic, or is that going to pretty much remain the same after everything's said and done with Alders and 9th Avenue? There's, heavy, is that always going to be like that? Or will this project not affect anything with regards to that kind of traffic?
You mean on the local roads or on the interstate itself?
Like on 9th Avenue?
I don't know exactly how it's going to affect the traffic on 9th Avenue. We have done some modeling, and we do know that the traffic is projected to increase.
So I really don't know. A lot of that depends on, will they choose to stay on I-29 longer and maybe choose a different route? Do they want to, go through the frontage system or not? That's something we're going to have to look at in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
And I wanted to remind everybody, if you've got a handout with you, there's a website on that handout, www.iowadot.gov/PIM. If you go to that website, you will have the document available electronically for review. Any more questions or comments? Yes, sir. Please, approach the mic.
Ken McCurry, 217 South 34th Street, Council Bluffs, Iowa, 51501. Thank you very much. So when is the final study going to be completed? So all the exact acquisitions have been determined. What's the end date there, so you know exactly who's going to be removed?
We're looking at later on in this fall. We should be able to move into our right-of-way discussions and finalize our needs and our impacts later this fall. And we'll communicate to everybody. We'll have another right-of-way meeting. Invite you back here, and we'll have some similar discussions then.
Okay. So is there going to be they're going to improve the northbound 29 exit, right?
Which exit?
9th Avenue.
Yes.
And then is there going to be a new on-ramp there also?
So it'll be there'll be an on-ramp at 9th Avenue. Yes.
North and southbound?
Yes. There'll be access at 9th, full access at 9th, northbound and southbound.
Now, closer to Broadway, is there going to be another new entrance and exit ramps closer to Broadway or not? Or is the 9th Avenue one going to continue north?
Yeah, the northbound frontage road will be one-lane frontage road. You will follow that up through Broadway. You can get on Broadway, or you can continue going through and get back on the interstate. By Avenue G.
What's 35th Street interchange that it says in the flyer that's gonna be eliminated, where is that? Where's the 35th Street interchange?
There's a northbound exit and northbound on-ramp at 35th Street today, and we're gonna get.
Oh, over by where 29 curves east?
Correct.
Around those apartments?
Yes.
Way north of where we've been talking about?
Yes.
Oh.
North Avenue G. Yep.
So that's gonna be eliminated?
Yes.
Wow. So, what are people gonna do there? Just drive in the city streets?
No, you'll be able to get on at Avenue G.
Oh.
And 25th Street will remain there.
Oh, okay. Hey, thanks a lot.
More comments? Well, thank you. Step up to the mic.
I'm excited about all of this personally. We need to compete with Omaha. Omaha is beautiful, and I think we have just as much ability to be just as beautiful. You know, so I'm excited. I mean, what control do we have? For real? Seriously. But I'm excited about that change. So keep it up. Good job.
Thank you.
I do have one additional question. It mentioned in the presentation that there was a historical property that's affected. Which property is that?
There was actually a property at the corner of Avenue G and 37th Street. Yes. That its official historical name is the former Myers Elementary School, and the name of the church that is there at the moment. Across the park. Yes, that is actually a historic property.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Leo Young. I am the pastor of the church that meets in Myers School at this present time. Last name is spelled Y-O-U-N-G. My residence is 196 Grand Avenue. I want to commend, first before I say anything else, the Highway Department for the meeting we've had tonight. You people have taken some pretty harsh comments. I don't want to add to that in any way, shape, or form. To be considered an historical structure, as I understand it, was a new thing and a new concept to me in this whole process. The lady that did the environmental study in that area had mentioned to me that there was a possibility that that could happen. I can't remember in my personal life what was going on at that particular time, but the evaluation of that as a historical structure was made without ever having the woman inside the building. The inside of the building was never seen. I gave her the comment on the phone that there was nothing historic about it on the inside because the amount of the work that we have done on the inside to convert it into a religious activity or a church activity. So the decision on that piece of property was made from the outside visual of it completely. From what little I know about it, and I had a lot of research to do, it's my understanding they can declare that to be a historical structure, it impacts the DOT. They have to answer to certain criteria from the federal standpoint. Guys, if I'm incorrect on anything, correct me when I'm done, please. It's my understanding, even though it's been declared a historical structure, that it has no impact on us as private owners of the property whatsoever. My burden of concern to the philosophy of this whole thing and the intent of this whole thing seems to be completely wrong, because the DOT has had to go to great measures to reconstruct how they want to do things. But on the other hand, if they settle with me and within a short period of time I decide I want to sell that building to anybody for whatever use, whether it's home building or commercial, whatever would meet the codes of the city, that building could be done away with in just a single heartbeat, as we say, let the building go. It's only been declared as a historical structure. The impact on it is just about as logical as a spotted owl, if you have any historical background on that one. I am going to try my very best to work with the state on this issue. And I've also talked to some of the men, and I really appreciate their forthrightness, their honesty, and et cetera, they shared with me. But on the other hand, it is going to create a massive amount of difficulty for us as a body of people. We have converted the gymnasium into an auditorium that is very pleasant. It happens to be on the very west end of the building because that's where the gymnasium was. Once they get done with the frontage road, it's going to be within about 30 feet of the end of my building. It's going to be within about 45 feet of my pulpit. For you people that's concerned about jake breaking, you're concerned about sound and barriers and things like that, I have a lot of concern. And I want to work graciously with the state on this issue. But I have to say openly and publicly, I don't think it is a good and a wise and a smart move on the government's part on a federal level to put such a thing into a program that's going to be effective like this. Bottom line is this: I will do everything I can to be happy. I'll do everything I can to serve the community, training and encouraging people into the right kind of a life. But I'll do everything I can to get the fairest way of being treated. I have to say, the very essence of it, I can't agree with. I can't agree with what that one little issue has done to the project. But I do want to close in saying, I do commend the DOT for the meeting tonight, their kindness and forthrightness in answering the questions, and I'm looking forward to them treating me in the right way also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Thank you for the comments. Additional comments? Well, if there are no further comments, again, I encourage you to submit written comments. If you think of something when you get home, there's a mailer, please send it in. That concludes the public hearing for this evening. I want to thank you for coming. And as always, please drive safely. Thank you.